Lund boats, the most trusted name in aluminum fishing, passed down through generations, built in the same Minnesota town since 1948. They have resale values that hold stronger than almost anything else on the freshwater market. But not every model earns that reputation equally. Some carry documented construction problems that buyers only discovered after the money was spent. We are breaking down the 3 worst and 4 best Lund boats to own. Stay until the end, because the best models on this list are not the ones you would expect. Please subscribe if this video is helpful. The first model to avoid is any pre-2000 Lund with its original transom and plywood structural components still in place. This includes older Tyee, Pro V, and Angler builds from the 80s and the 90s. To understand why, you have to know what is actually behind the aluminum skin on these boats. The aluminum is not the structure, it is the surface. The structural load-bearing components underneath, specifically the transom and the floor framing, were built from wood. When water finds a path through improperly sealed motor mount bolts or around the transom cap joint, it contacts that wood directly. One owner who had his older Predator surveyed found the transom soft enough to flex half an inch just by lifting on the lower unit. His teardown revealed the failure sequence. Water had entered, dried repeatedly, and bacteria had initiated ROT. Once rot begins, it causes the rivets around the transom to work loose, which creates more water intrusion paths and which accelerates the rot further. A visible indicator of this cycle already in progress is black discoloration ringing the rivet heads around the motor mount area. By the time a buyer notices flex in the transom or engine mount fasteners beginning to back out, the structural degradation is already significant. Transom rebuild costs documented by owners run from several $100s for minor repairs to several $1,000s for a full replacement before any floor work is factored in. The bottom line on pre-2000 Lunds is this: have the transom physically probed at every rivet and every penetration point. Treat any discolored rivet head as a reason to get a professional assessment, not a reason to walk away from a fairly priced boat. The second configuration to avoid is any carpeted Lund from the late 1990s through the mid-2010s that has spent seasons in the water without thorough drying between uses. This is the single most documented maintenance failure in the entire Lund ownership community, and it is rooted in a detail Lund only began resolving systematically with recent redesigns. The construction on these boats uses plywood deck panels covered in marine carpet. The carpet retains moisture. The moisture sits against the plywood. Because ventilation underneath the deck panels is minimal, the trapped moisture initiates rot in the wood substrate that is completely invisible until the deck goes soft underfoot. A 1993 Tyee owner who did a full deck replacement described rot specifically at the rear seat pedestal and at the plywood seams above the fuel tank. The repair required removing the consoles and every interior fitting, a project that experienced do-it-yourselfers confirmed takes the better part of a week. Lund does carry a lifetime warranty on plywood panels for the original owner, which is a genuine benefit. But the warranty covers the replacement material, not the installation. One owner who exercised this warranty described receiving the replacement panels delivered to the dealer on a pallet, with Lund's involvement ending at that point. The labor and the disruption of a complete deck replacement on a boat that looked perfectly normal from the outside is the real exposure, and it is not visible on a casual walkthrough. If you are evaluating a carpeted Lund from this era, pull back any accessible carpet edge at the seams and probe the plywood beneath it with something sharp before anything else. The third configuration to avoid is any pre-2000 Lund Pro V from the 1775 or 1660 model designations, which did not receive the IPS hull in 1999 when Lund first introduced the system. This matters for a specific reason documented in Lund's own anniversary history materials and confirmed by owners who cataloged the 1999 and 2000 model year catalogs directly. Lund introduced the IPS hull in 1999, but the rollout was selective. In the 1999 catalog, only the Pro V 1800, 1900, and 2025 models received the IPS hull. The 1775 and 1660 did not. The 1775 was added in the 2000 model year. The IPS system combines a flat pad at the stern that delivers clean, uninterrupted water to the propeller for maximum lift and efficiency, a center keel for straight-line tracking in crosswinds, and hard reverse Chinese that bite into the water in turns, channel spray downward, and flatten the hull through corners. An owner who went from a 2000 Lund 1700 angler without IPS to a 1675 model with IPS described the difference directly. The IPS model was drier and smoother. His father's larger Tyee without IPS rode rougher than the smaller IPS-equipped boat. A separate owner described a pre-IPS hull on Mille Lacs at faster speeds as challenging, hitting the wave and slapping rather than cutting through it. Mille Lacs is one of the most demanding bodies of water in Minnesota for aluminum fishing boats, and exactly the conditions these boats were marketed for. If you are considering a pre-2000 Pro V in the 1775 or 1660 designation, understand that the IPS hull is one of the most significant engineering upgrades in Lund's history, and that hull is not present on those specific builds. Now for the 4 models that fully earn the Lund name. The 2023 and later Pro V aluminum series is the clearest expression of what 77 years of aluminum boat manufacturing refinement looks like in a current production model. Lund launched the Pro V in 1988 and redesigned it complete for the 2023 model year at its 35th anniversary, with manufacturer documentation confirming exactly what changed. Wood-free construction throughout, stainless hardware, full-length LED interior lighting, a new aft deck with integrated jump seats, a wider bow deck for more fishing space, a roomy cockpit designed for more passengers. 4 models range from the 1875, which is 18 feet 11 inches, through the 2175, which is 21 feet 10 inches, with beams between 100 and 102 inches, and power options from Mercury Marine ranging from 200 to 400 horsepower depending on model size. The Pro V has been Lund's best-selling model for more than 3 decades. The 2023 redesign represents the first time in that history that wood has been completely removed from the construction, directly addressing the failure mode that has driven more ownership discussions and deck replacement projects across the Lund community than any other single issue. The second best model is the Tyee series in its 1875 and 1975 configurations, and the reason it earns its own entry separate from the Pro V is a specific engineering decision that creates a fundamentally different capability profile. Independent marine reviewers confirmed in a Tyee 1800 evaluation that the cockpit is 27 inches deep, which is 5 inches deeper than a Pro V model of similar length. That difference is not cosmetic. It is a deliberate engineering choice. More cockpit depth means higher freeboard at the stern, which means more water excluded in heavy chop, which is exactly why the Tyee's deck layout is oriented toward jigging and trolling rather than forward casting. The IPS-2 running surface with 16 degrees of D-dries was confirmed in the same evaluation, and the test boat hit 48 miles per hour with a Mercury 154 stroke at full throttle. For the buyer who primarily fishes exposed reservoirs, the Great Lakes, or the famously demanding open water of Mille Lacs rather than protected tournament waters, the Tyee's deeper cockpit and greater freeboard are engineering decisions that matter on every rough water day they fish. The third best model is the 202 Pro VGL fiberglass, and this is the entry that changes the conversation entirely for buyers who have only ever considered aluminum. Manufacturer documentation confirms the 202 Pro VGL runs an IPS2 fiberglass hull and describes it explicitly as setting a new standard in the fiberglass fishing boat category. The redesigned aft deck features dual seat pedestals, a non-slip marine mat, and a 24.5-gallon, 46-inch live well with a divider, pump out, and bait net. The fully bonded frameless windshield with custom cast corners adds structural strength at the hull's widest point, which Lund identifies as a specific rough water performance advantage. The reason fiberglass matters here is physics. Fiberglass absorbs wave energy, aluminum transfers it to the occupants. On the Great Lakes, Lake of the Woods, or any other body of water where a 2-foot chop is a normal fishing day rather than an exceptional one, the material difference is felt through an entire day on the water in a way that no specification sheet fully captures. For the buyer fishing big water who wants IPS2 hull engineering, and Lund's construction discipline in a hull material that cushions the ride instead of amplifying it, the 202 Pro VGL is the answer the aluminum lineup cannot provide. The fourth best model is the 2025 Impact XS series. What sets it apart is what Lund changed, and why those changes matter more than any new feature. Manufacturer documentation for the 2025 Impact XS highlights 2 headline improvements: completely wood-free construction, a carpet-free option for ease of maintenance. Those 2 details are the direct engineering response to the 2 most documented failure modes in the Lund ownership community's 40-year conversation about deck replacement and transom rot. The 2025 lineup runs 5 models, and the flagship 2075 Impact XS was lengthened to 20 feet 10 inches, with maximum horsepower increased to 225. The recessed foot pedal tray and widened bow, designed specifically for forward-facing sonar, reflect where the serious fishing market has moved. Sonar has become the defining technology in tournament and serious recreational fishing, and Lund built the 2025 Impact XS bow layout around it from the factory rather than leaving owners to adapt a platform not designed for it. For the buyer who wants a fishing-first aluminum platform with modern electronics integration, no wood anywhere in the structure, and no carpet trapping moisture against anything, the 2025 Impact XS is the most direct answer to every lesson the Lund ownership community learned the hard way over the previous 4 decades. The thread connecting all 7 of these entries is exactly the same. The worst Lund configurations are not poorly built boats. They are boats where specific material choices that were standard practice in their era create predictable, documented problems when water, time, and real-world use work against them. The best Lund models are the ones where those materials have been removed, and the IPS hull engineering that defines the brand's performance identity has been fully developed and applied. Knowing which side of those material and hull timelines a specific boat sits on is the only question that matters when evaluating a used Lund, and now you know exactly where every line is drawn.